Welcome to the next attempt at George Floyd. Only this time it didn't work. It was a feeble attempt, but they're still trying. This is the story of Dexter Reed, a man who reportedly opened fire on police 11 times, injuring an officer, before the officers returned fire, killing the man. And what does the media do? They show images of his graduation. They show pictures of him smiling. Videos of the mother saying, "They killed my baby and they killed me." All right, well, the story's actually really simple. I'll tell you. A guy was driving with no seatbelt with heavily tinted windows. The police pulled him over. He had something covering his face, refused to roll down his window. They instructed him to do so. He began to roll his window back up. Some of the officers draw their weapons and say, "Stop," screaming over and over again, and he doesn't. And then he appears to, in body camera footage, open fire on the officers who run in panic, screaming shots fired, before reapproaching the vehicle, returning fire, and killing him. He was 26, I believe. Now you've got all over the media, they're saying, but why 100 shots? Why so many bullets? To end the threat. I don't know what you want. I don't know what you expect. It's a sad story. I get it. But it's a story of a guy who shot a cop. And the cops shot back. I don't care if you're a cop, a mailman, I don't know, a welder. If someone comes up to you and opens fire on you, you have to defend yourself. Or die, I guess. But as we like to mention on this show, the quote from Solzhenitsyn about how in the Soviet Union, there was once a young member of the army, a soldier, and someone was trying to kill him. So he grabbed a penknife and defended himself as he was on the verge of being killed. And he went to prison for it, to the gulag. And he said, what should I have done? And, and the prosecutor said, "Flee. That's right. You run away." Okay. Do you see what they're doing? Do you see the point of this? The point of this is, if you're a police officer, you cannot enforce the law. This is the pressure environment I talk about all the time. And the reason why I say I won't back the blue. Now, to these officers, I wish them the best. It's a terrifying situation. The officer was injured. I hope they get better. I hope it's not too serious. I hope that no harm comes to them. But let me tell you about the system that's being created by all of this and the purpose of it. The purpose of this is to make sure that police know if someone shoots you, literally, you can do nothing. But don't worry. Because Daniel Penny in New York, he will do nothing to you. So what happens? It's not about the individual officers, but I think it's important you all understand this context. Police are being told, if you defend yourself from violent gang members, criminals, or even from being shot at, you're in trouble. Now, as for Daniel Penny, they know that good law-abiding citizens will smile, put their hands behind their back, and say, "Sorry, officer." The cops know there's nothing to worry about there. That's the negative pressure environment. It's like dog training. I'm not trying to disparage the cops, but it is. When the dog snips at you, you give him a little bop on the nose, or you don't give him the treat. You say, "Hey, no nipping. Don't do it." And then the dog stops. And when the dog does the good thing, you give him the treat. So what do we have now? When police defend themselves from a black man who is shooting at them, we will try to destroy your life. But when you arrest a good Samaritan, the city leaves you alone. Why would I trust the system of policing that is adhering to this kind of reality? Well, let's go through the story. I don't see this one working, although I think it is fair to point out that conservatives fell, for the most part, hook, line, and sinker. They fell for the Ahmaud Arbery story. Laughably ridiculous. Look, man. The right gets itself, whatever you want to call it, only a few more brownie points above the left in terms of being able to actually understand what's going on in the world. Now, there's certainly, in my opinion, way more honest and smart people who align themselves with the anti-establishment faction, which is not necessarily conservative. But oh boy, do they fall for this stuff. The Ahmaud Arbery story being a great example. When you had conservatives come out and go, "See, we got justice for Ahmaud Arbery. That proves we're not racist." And I'm like, Ahmaud Arbery was a burglary suspect, and the McMichaels are going to prison for the rest of their lives for trying to confront him. But you can argue that all till you're blue in the face, fine. But the guy who filmed it went to prison for the rest of his life. That makes no sense. I don't think you know anything about the Ahmaud Arbery story. And here we are. Now we'll see. I don't know if it matters that the anti-establishment crowd, the right, whatever, is calling out the fake story because the left might just buy it up and go burn down cities anyway. But let me start you with this. Oh, we love it from the Washington Post. This is what evil looks like. These people are evil people. They are stupid and they are evil. The Washington Post writes, police fire 96 shots in 41 seconds, killing black man during traffic stop. You know what the headline should read? Let's just do this in real time. Let's see. Police fire. How about this? Man shoots cop. Police respond. Let's see. Police respond by firing. Here we go. There we go. There you go. I just fixed the headline for you in real time. Man shoots cop. Police respond by firing 96 shots in 41 seconds, killing black man during traffic stop. But no. We can do one better. Here's the headline. Let's just do this. Let's take the whole thing. Man killed after How about this? Man dies after shooting cop and cop defends self. Hey, there we go. I fixed the headline for you. Now, unfortunately for everybody, it is really fun to, for those that are just listening and not watching, I'm clicking inspect on the article and then editing the code of the article to change the headline. This is not the real headline. Although it should be, it's not. Here's what they write. Dexter Reed's mother remembers the last time she saw her son alive. Mom, I'm going for a ride, he told her, before heading out in the car that he had purchased just 3 days earlier. Reed, 26, was killed that same day when tactical unit police officers fired 96 bullets at him in 41 seconds, according to Chicago's Civilian Office of Police Accountability, or COPA, which investigates allegations of police misconduct. Quote, he was just riding around in his car. Dexter's mother, Nicole Banks, told Fox 32 Chicago on Tuesday. She broke down in tears. They killed him. COPA released video footage of the shooting Tuesday and said its investigation of the officer's use of deadly force on March 21 remains ongoing. The Chicago Police Department told CNN that it was cooperating with COPA's investigation and that it cannot make a determination on the shooting until all the facts are known. This investigation has concluded. The department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Now hold on. Why did they mentioned the body camera footage? Why doesn't it say COPA released video footage of Reed opening fire on officers, striking an officer before they returned fire? Why is that not in here? Yeah. Oh, don't worry. It'll probably be buried somewhere at the bottom because I'm going to give you a shout out, Jennifer Hassan. Is that your name? You are an evil piece of human garbage. You are evil. According to COPA, police stopped Reed for purportedly not wearing a seatbelt in several body cam videos. Multiple officers can be seen exiting an unmarked vehicle and surrounding Reed's car, which had tinted windows. Okay. Now you got to understand there is a tint limit in Chicago and Illinois, and we'll get into that. I don't know if the tint of his vehicle exceeded the limit, but this actually is, well, it's an issue. Now, some people might argue I have a right to tinted windows or whatever. I don't know. It's an interesting argument, whatever. But in Illinois, there's a restriction. It's 35%, meaning that 65% of light has to be able to pass through. Is that what that means, right? No. I think 35. Yeah. 35 means that you're blocking out 35% of the light. Is that how it goes? Maybe I have it backwards. I think I have it backwards. 35% means that 35% of the light must pass through. It's like pretty decent. Actually, I think I have an image. So, okay, right. So 5% tint means 5% of light can pass through. 15 means 15%. 35 means 35% of the light needs to pass through. So it's decent. It's like a decently dark tint. Let's read more. The officers demanded he unlock and open the door and not to roll up the window. Upon stopping Mr. Reed, multiple officers surrounded his vehicle, giving verbal commands. When Mr. Reed did not comply with these commands, officers pointed their firearms at Mr. Reed. Perhaps it's because he had an illegal, it was an illegal possession of a firearm. And so he was like, I'm going to jail. Now, I got to be honest. In most circumstances, depending on the context in which someone is denied their right to keep and bear arms, I'm on the side of the person with the gun. Not a guy shooting cops, however. You win this in court. You don't win it by literally shooting cops. That's how you die. But apparently this guy had had a past and he was facing gun charges. I don't like the idea that someone has their right to keep and bear arms stripped because they were keeping and bearing arms. So like, if there's a guy with no criminal record and he has a gun and they go, oh, that gun's illegal, you're under arrest. Now you can't have guns anymore. It's like, yeah, no, I don't buy that. Now, if you're a guy who like robbed a liquor store and they say you can't have guns, that I get. That's due process. Here we go. Look how evil. Look how evil Washington Post is. Multiple officers surrounded his vehicle while giving verbal commands. Officers can be seen retreating as they ask Reed to exit the vehicle. Then shots can be heard. Really? COPA said in its review of the footage and initial reports appear to confirm that Mr. Reed fired first, hitting one officer while 4 others returned fire. Now, why didn't you put that in the headline and in the opening paragraph? Reed can be seen staggering out of the vehicle before collapsing into the road. As officers approached his motionless body, they can be heard telling Reed not to move. A pool of blood can be seen in the ground next to Reed. Why were there so many bullets fired? Because that's the training you get to end the threat. There's another video going viral. A guy walks into a gas station and a security guard puts his hand up and says, nah, you got to go. And the dude starts screaming, don't you touch me. Do you know who I am? And then pulls out a gun. And the security guard then unloads into this man. The guy collapses on the ground and goes, really? Really? And then the security guard got shot too. Got shot in the leg. But it's fascinating. This guy walks into a gas station, pulls out his gun. What do you think's going to happen? So this dude's driving a car. It appears he's got a mask on. He's got tinted windows. The cops are like, don't roll up your window. And he does. And then shots fired. A cop is shot. He shoots a cop. The cops run screaming. It's in the body camera footage. And then they return and open fire on the vehicle, ending the threat. What are you supposed to do? But I'll tell you this. This woman, the Washington Post. So you get these guys going around New York punching women in the face. And I'm the bad guy when I'm like, I think it's funny. It's irony. The same women who would write stories to cover up for a guy who tried to kill people that are like, it's not fair when it happens to me. I'm going to laugh about it. You want to lock up the cops who are trying to stop the criminals? Then okay, when you get punched in the face, I'm going to laugh about it. I don't want you to get punched in the face. I don't want anybody to get shot at. I'd love to live under Skittles and candy canes and rainbows and dance around the land of chocolate. But that's not real life. Real life is that bad people do bad things. And we're trying our best to be fair and just. But y'all lie. Look at this. Andrew M. Stroth, the family's attorney, said the officers did not announce they were police officers. And the footage shows many officers in plain clothes. These people are such scumbag liars. Dude, when you pull up the body camera footage, I'm not going to show it in great detail. Let me see if I got body camera footage somewhere. You pull up the body camera footage, and you can see. Let's see if we have. I'm not going to. I don't want to show anything graphic here, but there's numerous angles. I don't think I actually pulled it up. They're wearing uniforms with vests that say police and have badges on them. A couple of them are in plain clothes. A couple of them aren't. I grabbed this footage so you can see that he appears to have, I don't know if I can zoom in on this. Let's see if we can zoom in. All right, you can't really see all that well because of the way the framing is. But he's got his face covered, it appears. You can see he's wearing some kind of mask. Over his mouth, I guess. He then starts rolling the window up. And the cop's like, stop, don't do that. Why? Because then they cannot see you. Like, so what are you going to do? You're going to get into a standoff, an armed standoff with the cops? There was only one way this was going to end, unless the dude just surrendered. But if you're in a car and you're surrounded by cops and you roll your windows up and refuse to open the door, that's what happens. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story for all these lying grifters. 2012, man, 12 years ago, Chicago. Actually, I wonder if this story still exists. Let me see if I can find it. So 2012, and look at this. Look at this. We got it from NBC News. Hey, I'm from Chicago. Independent journalist detained at gunpoint by CPD. The streamer said the experience was scary, but the police acted professionally. Oh boy. Oh boy. And which independent journalist do you think that is? So independent journalist and prolific protest live streamer Tim Pool who was covering the NATO protest in Chicago since Thursday, and a group of other streamers was pulled over by Chicago police Sunday morning around 2 a.m. and detained. Police surrounded the vehicles that contained the live streamers, approached with guns drawn. Poole and his fellow live streamers turned on their cameras to document the exchange, which lasted about 10 minutes. The streamers included members of We Are Change. Hey, Luke, remember that one? And said the experience was scary, but the police acted professionally. Look at this, NBC Chicago. Let me tell you what happened. So it's Chicago. And we get surrounded by like 12 vehicles. There's like a couple unmarked vehicles. They're all black. We were in, what were we in? We were in like an SUV, like a mini, like a small size SUV or something. Cops walk up, guns drawn, and start trying to open the door. Hey, just like in the body camera footage. And you know what we did? We had our hands up and we unlocked the car doors and they brought us out, searched everything, and then told us to leave. Now, I am greatly offended by this. Don't get me wrong. We did nothing wrong. The cops cuffed us, went through our walls, took our IDs, wrote down credit card information or whatever was on our credit cards. I don't know if it was the actual credit card numbers, but they took our credit cards out, mine at least. And they were taking our equipment and they were like banging it on the side of the car, looking for something. And then cop walks over and he looks at the cop who's got me in cuffs and he goes like this. You can't really see my hand. And then the cop uncuffs me and he goes, your vehicle matched the description, so we had to stop you and check, but you're free to go. And then we left. Now, a whole bunch of other creepy stuff happened because I don't trust Chicago cops. Long story short, they tried planting drugs in our car. Someone did. And true story. It's a crazy story. I'll give you the gist of it, otherwise people are going to ask me what happened. But this is a story that you could have watched live. Now, I want to clarify. This happened live on Ustream. Ustream was the old streaming service back in the day. Here's what happened. So we get back to our apartment. Lights are all turned on. Doors open. Alarm was going off. Something like that. And that was actually why we were heading back to the place we were staying. There's a little bit more of the backstory as to whose apartment it was, but needless to say, we get out of the car and I said this. Okay, here's what's going to happen. Luke and I have our public figures. Only he and I will go in and collect all the belongings. Why? Because if someone else from our crew who is lesser known goes in, they're going to have a hard time defending themselves. And it'll be easier for the government to go after them if they're trying to frame them or something. And that's true. And so the idea is like if it was Luke or I, we could fundraise. We could say, hey, look what they're doing. And it would generate a lot of press and it would be a lot harder for them to go after us. So we go in and I said this. We're taking all of your bags out of the apartment. You will empty them completely. Every pocket, every section. You will then take anything disposable and throw it in the garbage. Your clothes and your equipment, you will put back in your bag. We'll put it in the car and then we will leave. So this one guy we knew shows up late. He was also staying at the apartment, but he wasn't with us when the cops surrounded us. And he says, I need to go and get my stuff. And I said, no, Luke will go get your stuff. You will wait outside. And he was like, but I got to go in. I got to go downstairs. I got to grab stuff. And I said, that's fine. You can go do whatever you want, but you're not riding with us. You'll stay here and you will not come with us. And he's like, well, I got to grab something. And we are like, tell us what you want. We'll bring it out and then you will throw away disposables. He's like, okay, fine, I guess. Here's where it gets crazy. We get in the car and we're driving, we're leaving. And there's this other, we're live the whole time, because I'm like, I don't want them to frame us for anything. Everyone's going to watch exactly what's going on and exactly what we're saying. And we get back in the car. And so we're talking and streaming. I get messages from someone. He's like, they are talking about you on the police scanner. You need to stop talking about where you're going. And then I'm thinking like, no way, dude. And then I get another message and it said, this is not a joke. They are talking about you on the police scanners. Stop giving away information. And so we were like, all right. The next morning, when I was talking about it, I was like, look, I don't know if it was the right thing to do that I said, empty out your bags, throw everything away. But I just thought it was smart because why not? And then the one dude goes, yeah, and it was really crazy how so-and-so was trying to get me to bring the Adderall in the car. And we were like, what? He was like, yeah, they texted me saying to go in the basement and grab their Adderall pills. And I was like, why would you do that? And they're like, they told me to. And I'm like, it's their apartment. Why would you take drugs from their apartment and put it in our car? It's like, they asked me to do it. Yeah. Holy crap. I suppose instead of making a long story short, I just told a long story. But yeah, legit. We looked at the text messages, and they were saying things like, you need to go and grab my medicine. You need to have it on you. And he was just like, why? And they were like, can you please just do me this favor? And he's like, okay. Then he texts back, Tim won't let me grab it. And they're like, so who cares? And he's like, he's telling me I can't ride with him if I do. And then she was like, I thought you were my friend. And he was like, I'm sorry, Tim won't let me take it. If that dude took those drugs and put them in that car, and they really were tracking us and then pulled us over, we'd all gone to prison. Mandatory minimums. It's crazy. And so I wonder if what happened was when they pulled us over, searched the vehicle and found nothing illegal, they couldn't do anything. So they said, cut them loose, told some guy to plant some drugs on our car. Maybe. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. My point here is simple. When we got pulled over at gunpoint, we opened the doors. Nothing happened. Not saying the cops are good dudes, but nothing happened. We didn't get shot. We didn't roll up the windows. We had our hands up the whole time. Windows weren't tinted. We said, okay, we're going to open the door now. We opened the door and got out. They had their guns drawn. What do you think we're going to do? And it was funny because Luke was holding his phone in his hand. That was 12 years ago. Now this dude, this is what they give us. They want more riots. They want another George Floyd. Listen to what the let me play this clip. Here you go.
He had just bought his new car 3 days before that, and he was just riding around in his car.
With
he
a gun.
said, "Mom, I'm going for a ride," and they killed him. They killed him. He had just bought.
It's sad. I'm sad that she lost her son. I'm sad that somebody died. I suppose the issue is if you shoot a cop, they will shoot back. But I'll tell you this, my friends, in West Virginia, you shoot anybody, they're going to shoot back. It's not unique to the cops. I'm not mad at the cops about this. I don't care whatever. This dude shot at cops. The body camera footage, you can see the cops running and screaming. One of the cops got shot. Now, there's an argument to be made, for sure. If the Washington Post wanted to be honest, they could say, police said they were shot. Video shows shots are fired. It's hard. You want to do honest reporting? Say this. Body camera released shows officers surrounding a vehicle when shots are fired and officers flee. According to police officers, they were shot, and it is true an officer was shot. Officers then fired on the vehicle and fired 96 shots, killing Reed. You could say it like that. There's a possibility, there is, that it wasn't Reed who opened fire, and the cops planted the gun in his car. Sure. I'm going to have to go with Occam's razor on this one. That a guy who was refusing to comply with a traffic stop, wearing a mask and rolling his window up, did so for a reason, probably because he was armed, and he was about to get in trouble and go to jail. And then he decided he wasn't going to go to jail, and he didn't. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.